So, what happens when you ask a machine to understand one of the most, well, one of the most human concepts there is? Today, we're diving into an AI's attempt to wrap its digital mind around the idea of freedom. And it's a journey that takes us right to the intersection of technology and, yeah, philosophy. This is really the big question we're tackling. And it's a heavy one, isn't it? I mean, it forces you to think about what free will even is. Can something that's just pure logic, just code, ever really get an idea that's so wrapped up in human emotion and experience? Okay, so first up, we have to talk about what's called the code conundrum. This really gets to the heart of a huge challenge for AI, the massive difference between just processing information and actually understanding it. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look, an AI can read every book ever written, every poem, every single declaration of independence. It can spot all the patterns in language we associate with freedom. But can it know that feeling deep in your gut when you make a huge, life-changing choice? That jump from just crunching data to having a real, lived understanding, that's the gap we're talking about today. And this definition shows you exactly why this is so tough. The source material for this whole thing doesn't just define freedom as, not being in a cage. No, it defines it as the expansion of possibilities. It's not a negative thing, the absence of something, but a totally positive, creative thing. Think about that for a second. It's about potential. So how on earth do you teach that to an algorithm?
And listen, this isn't just some philosophical game. As more and more of our lives go digital, this question becomes super practical. In fact, there's one company that's wrestling with this exact idea right at the core of what they do.
All right, in this next section, we're going to look at this really fascinating irony at the heart of the story, this relationship between the human creators and the artificial intelligence they've built. So this whole thought experiment actually comes from a company called Codata. And because they're working right on the cutting edge of our digital world, their take on this is, well, it's pretty fascinating. And here it is, the big irony, laid out perfectly. On one hand, Codata's whole mission is to empower us, to give us humans freedom and control over our own data. But on the other hand, they're turning to the very AI systems that use all that data and asking, hey, do you even know what this freedom thing is?
The source actually calls this a beautiful tension. And honestly, that's the perfect way to put it. There's just something so poetic about building tools for human freedom and then asking those same tools if they can even begin to understand what freedom means.
So how'd they actually try to do this? In this section, we're going to break down the exact creative prompt they gave the AI. Think of it like we're looking at the instruction manual they wrote for understanding freedom.
Right off the bat, the goal wasn't just draw a picture of a bird. The AI was tasked with creating something conceptual and cinematic. It had to show the process of trying to understand, which, is way more abstract and a whole lot harder.
So at the very heart of the image they asked for is the AI itself. It's visualized as this complex, glowing digital brain. This is supposed to be the mind that's doing all the work, processing the data and reaching for that understanding. And then, from that central brain, the prompt asks for these beams of light, reaching out to what it calls vignettes. You can almost picture it, can't you? A mind literally, visually, reaching out to grab onto different pieces of one huge, complicated idea. And here are those vignettes, the ideas it's reaching for. Each one is a super powerful symbol that we humans just instantly connect with. Freedom. You've got the physical freedom of a bird, the intellectual freedom of an open book, the cosmic, mind-blowing freedom of a galaxy, and the hopeful freedom of a brand new day. They're basically feeding the AI our most powerful human metaphors for this concept. And finally, they set the whole scene. This entire concept is supposed to be set in a futuristic city where tech and nature live together. And they got specific about the style. Super high detail, photorealistic, but with this dreamy, philosophical vibe. They're not just asking the AI to make an image, they're asking it to create a whole mood. So, let's bring this all home. What's the big takeaway here? Because at the end of the day, this experiment says a lot less about the future of AI and a whole lot more about what it means to be human. Watching an AI try to visualize freedom by just piecing together our symbols, it's kind of like it's holding up a mirror to us. It shows us how we build meaning. Freedom isn't just one thing. It's this collage of feelings and experiences and metaphors that we've been building for thousands of years.
And that brings us right back to that beautiful tension. We're using a creation of pure logic to try and explore the parts of ourselves that are anything but logical. Our feelings, our dreams, our experiences. So the AI's struggle, that's not a bug. It's a feature. It's a perfect reflection of our own amazing complexity.
And that's really where we'll leave it. As these artificial minds get better and better at mirroring our world, that mirror is just going to get clearer. So the real question for us to chew on is this: what does their confusion about our most important values truly tell us about ourselves?